Oh, hello. Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today I will be discussing Tyler Perry movies and just his content in general. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. If you like my earrings, check out my website below, La Vida Rosa Style, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Alright, you guys, so I gave y'all a poll of whether y'all wanted me to do my next rant on Tyler Perry or Grownish, and obviously Tyler Perry won. I still will be doing a rant video on Grownish, but this one comes first because I'm gonna give the people what they want, okay? In January, Tyler Perry released a movie on Netflix called A Fall from Grace. And it was highly criticized, highly panned. So if you just want like a quick overview of why people made fun of this movie so bad, just type in A Fall from Grace on Twitter and you'll quickly understand why people have been talking so bad about this movie. Not only did that movie stir up a lot of controversy when it came to Tyler Perry, but also when he made a post on Instagram where he was bragging about being the only writer for all of his movies and TV shows.
So I don't know if you know this, but all shows on television have a writer's room. And most of the time there are 10 people, 12, whatever, that write all these television shows, right? Well, I have no writer's room. Nobody writes any of my work. I write it all. Why am I telling you this? I wrote all of these scripts by myself in 2019. What's my point? Work ethic!
Tyler Perry does that all on his own. And everything he writes really is coming from his perspective. And you might say, well, what's the problem with that? He's putting out a lot of work. Has quote unquote work ethic. What's wrong with him writing every single thing? Well, the problem is that he's writing from a single perspective, and that's why all of his work seems to repeat itself over and over, because he can only write from one point of view. If he had other people in the writer's room to help him write from different points of view, maybe his stories will take different turns and it won't be so predictable. My first introduction to Tyler Perry was the play Madea's Family Reunion. I was around maybe like 10 or 11. And at the time, it was just really outlandishly funny. You know what I'm saying? Like it was super black. It was super country. It was super like it had like a religious twist. I'm not gonna go ahead and give the full like, you know, Christian play, because it wasn't really, it was like too much cussing and stuff for that, but they tried to add like a little religious twist to it. The main character was Madea, who was, you know, when I think about those plays, there are some movies and TV shows that I refer to as live action cartoons. Like, to me, a reality show that's like a live action cartoon is Love and Hip Hop, because in reality those things don't really happen, but it's entertaining, so it's like a cartoon. So to me, Tyler Perry's plays were like a live action cartoon, because I'm sure there are people like Madea in the world, but I feel like Madea is literally a caricature of a real person. Tyler Perry said he took pieces of his grandmother, his aunt, you know, different people that he knew personally, and put it into that character. But I severely doubt that the people that he knew were exactly like Madea. I'm sure she was just a very exaggerated version of that person. And to me, that characterized most of his plays. Like, there were real life situations happening in the play, but people like Madea, Mr. Brown, you know, people like that in the play made it, it took it to another level of unbelievability. But we were entertained nonetheless, especially me as a child. I thought it was hilarious. The gun, like Madea will pull out a gun out of nowhere and be ready to hold it directly in your face. Just the dialogue between the characters, the wigs, the costumes, like everything was outlandish, and you just dial the notch all the way up to 10. I feel like because plays are not meant to be exactly all the way true to life, because You turn around, like you'll have an argument with somebody and all of a sudden it's love. That also is a very unrealistic aspect of someone just busting out singing out of nowhere. So when you take one of those plays and you try to translate into a movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, Medea's Family Reunion, I Could Do Battle by Myself. The movies were nowhere as good or entertaining to me as the plays, and that's because I feel like it just didn't translate well. And even though I didn't necessarily like the movies as good as the plays, I still would support, I still would want to go. I think some of it was FOMO, you know, fear of missing out. Everybody's going to be talking about these movies, so I want to see it because I want to be in the know. I want to be able to talk about these movies with everybody else. And also, it was kind of like a force of habit. Like, we have been watching Tyler Perry content for so long that when his movies come out, it's kind of like you feel, it's like a habit. Like, I want to see it because I've seen everything else. I might as well go see this too. And also, this is a black man that is creating feature-length movies. Like, you would think, coming from a play circuit, he would probably go straight to DVD or made-for-TV movies. But no, these were actually major feature-length films grossing millions of dollars. I think you might see it a little bit more these days, but back then it was very rare for a black man to basically put his own money behind this, behind the studio, behind the movies, to be able to put it out in major theaters for major releases. And so black people came out in droves to support. Now, these movies may not have been nominated for Oscars, Golden Globes, Emmys, you know, things like that, and probably never will, but his success is undeniable. Especially now that he has Tyler Perry Studios, where even bigger major films are being filmed there, such as Black Panther, which is one of the highest grossing action films of that year. So while we're talking about positives about Tyler Perry content, I want to talk about how he has casted top-notch A-list black actresses and actors, you know, on the legendary side of things, as well as he's given new actors opportunities to be a part of feature films. So some of the major black actresses he's had in movies are Cicely Tyson, who has been in, I believe, like 2 or 3 Tyler Perry movies. Felicia Rashad, who's best known as Claire Huxtable from The Cosby Show. Taraji P. Henson, who is an Oscar, is she an Oscar nominee or winner? I'll have it on the screen. Jennifer Lewis, Janet Jackson, and Gabrielle Union. And some of the newer talent. Now, some of these people we knew about, but this was kind of their first time, or one of their first times on the big screen. Jill Scott, who was in Why Did I Get Married and Why Did I Get Married Too? Lance Gross, Tessa Thompson. To me, his best films do not include Madea, for obvious reasons. It's like the quality was upgraded with these films. To me, some of his best films were Why Did I Get Married and Why Did I Get Married Too? The Family That Prays, For Colored Girls, Good Deeds, and Daddy's Little Girls. And even though he was putting out like Madea movies and like some of the more outlandish films sprinkled in between those movies, I feel like these movies kind of I feel like these were kind of like the peak of Tyler Perry's writing, and just the overall look of the movies. The hair and makeup was on point. There were more seasoned actors that could really dig into the role and convey exactly what the role needs to be presented to us to make it look believable. And also the overall production was just pristine, and it just seemed like it was like a huge step up from the movies that we were used to. Overall, we know Tyler Perry has it in him to create great films, because a lot of these films are films that I will go back and watch today and still would enjoy these films and, you know, really be engrossed with them and believe the storyline. Now, his worst movies, The Wigs, Tyler, The Wigs. Now, mind you, in his plays, the wigs were terrible, and they had microphones that looks like little turds that would sit on their foreheads. You can get away with that with a play because a lot of people are not that close and we can't really see what's going on. The only reason why we could see as well was because they recorded the plays, and so we got a good look at the people's faces. But if you're in the crowd, you're probably most likely not going to see how terrible a wig looks. And plus, plays, you want things to be exaggerated. The character is able to express without having to say much. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of tell what they're all about from their whole outfit, just their get up all together. For example, Mr. Brown, you need to be able to see he's ashy from a distance. So we just gonna take some white powder and pop. We're gonna pop his knees with it, pop his elbows with it. We're gonna make sure he looks extra ashy. We're gonna find the tackiest outfit we can find. We're gonna put plaid with polka dots. We're gonna give him those pop sugar pop white shoes, and we're gonna give him the long white socks, and we're just gonna make him as tacky as possible because we want even people in the back to see how ridiculous Brown is. Totally get it. I totally get that. But these wigs in these movies are unforgivable. It's bad enough when you put a bad wig on a black woman, but you had the nerve to put it on our finest men. Okay? Boris Kodjoe, Shamar Moore, and Mekhi Brooks, who looks fine on a regular day. Why? Why did you have to give him a high top fade? Why couldn't he just be bald headed? He looks so good bald. Artists can't be bald. Like, why would you? I just didn't even understand how it even went with the aesthetic of what you were trying to portray with this character. Why? I mean, if you were trying to make him look like a fool, you definitely achieved that. If we're really going to get into the bad moviness of it all, the terrible CGI with the fireflies, y'all, I'd rather you not even do that scene. Cut that out of there. Why did you have this terrible CGI? That was supposed to be fireflies? Even at one point in the frame, you could see the microphone coming up from the bottom. Like, it was just really awful. Like, these are things that you would think they would catch in editing that were kept in the movie. And this is why people are calling this movie bad. Not to mention, this extra deserves an Oscar for eating and drinking air so convincingly in the background. I wasn't paying that much attention to see it. Whoever caught that, you deserve one too. Like, and you deserve to be on Tyler Perry's editing scene for catching it. Like, how did I even make it through to the final cut? I think all of these things and more can bring down the quality of a movie, but I think the #1 offender has to be the writing. It has to be. So of course, when it comes to these movies, there always has to be a villain. And I think the problem with some of these movies is that the villain is always over exaggerated. Even with a bad Tyler Perry movie versus a good one, the villain is always going to be over exaggerated. So for example, with The Fall from Grace, the love interest, he starts off this, suave, debonair, charming fellow. And then he turns into this evil man who's sleeping with another woman while his, partner is in the next room and just cursing her out. Like, it just switched so quickly that it was jarring. It was just jarring with how quickly he turned from one thing to another. The man he went from the sweetest to having no redeemable qualities. The villainousness of it all was just like, it was kind of too much. It got to be so much that it was unrealistic. I feel like many of his movies do that. Like, the villain is just like out of this world evil, and it's like, when are you ever gonna run into someone that is actually like that? I'm sure it exists, but once again, it's like a total caricature of what real life would probably be. And an example in one of his better movies would be And Why Did I Get Married? The husband that was cheating on Jill Scott with her best friend. In what world would you invite your best friend on a couples trip? 1. 2, when they're on their way to the couples trip and they're getting on the plane, I don't care if you're the most evil man in this world, there's no way he would stay on the plane with the other woman and and allow his wife to drive instead. If anything, he probably would get in the car and berate her the entire time on the way there. But it just, a lot of those things were unrealistic, and that's because his villains are just so, they just, I'm evil, I'm gonna be mean to you, I'm gonna be as mean as possible, don't test me. Can we bring it back a little bit? Let's make it a little bit more true to life, you know what I'm saying? Also, a running theme with his movies is pitiful black woman being abused by a no good dark-skinned man and then saved and rescued by the perfect light-skinned man. I mean, it's just happened in too many of his movies for us to ignore that. Like, most of his movies include a terrible, speaking of villains, you know, they're always dark-skinned, and then the savior has to be light-skinned because colorism. Hey Tyler, what is the message that you're trying to convey, and why is this the only message that you are only trying to convey? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are so many other storylines in this world other than a woman being treated badly, especially a black woman being treated badly by a dark-skinned man and being saved by a light-skinned one. And not every black woman in this world allows a man to beat her down and must be saved by someone. Like, some people think Tyler Perry hates black women. I don't think that. I just think Tyler Perry might be going off his perspective and what he's seen in his life. You know, maybe growing up, he's seen this happen to women in his life, and he's just writing from that one perspective when there are so many other different types of black women in this world. And I would love for him to keep writing about black women, but only if he gets different perspectives to come in here and actually show him that there is so much more to us. There's so many more different personality types that you can draw from. It doesn't just have to be, you know, this one type of beaten and battered woman, you know what I'm saying? And maybe for once in the storyline, the woman's life doesn't have to revolve around a man. Even the comedian Rel recently called him out for writing the show Sisters while not having the perspective to do so. And I totally agree, because when I watch that show, there's not one character I can necessarily relate to. I've tried watching that show. I can't. I just can't. I actually follow someone that is on that show, and I don't want to like tear down the show. I don't want the show to be canceled or anything. I think that's where a lot of people are coming from. We don't necessarily want Tyler Perry to quit altogether, because we like the fact that you're employing black people and making content for the black community. We appreciate it, but we just want it to be elevated and take it to the next level so it can be enjoyed by more of us, so more of us can support. Because at this point, you know, some of the content is just not enjoyable for some of us because of the glaring writing mistakes and wigs and things like that. With that being said, Tyler Perry has an audience that will support him no matter what. As long as he caters to them, outsiders' critiques do not matter. They only fuel his success. Whether you love his content or hate watch, it's still money in his pocket. The constant clowning of the movie A Fall from Grace only made people want to watch it more. Honestly, that's the reason why I did. When I saw people clowning it online and I saw it on Twitter, I had to go see it for myself. I had to go watch the movie for myself. And you know what? I can't even say that I hated the movie. When I watched it, I went into it ready to be like, you know, this movie is trash. But the first half of the movie wasn't even bad to me. Like, the acting was pretty good. I really enjoyed the main character. I forgot her name, but I'll put her on the screen. To me, she did really good, especially with the material she was given. The lady from the Have and the Have-Nots, I just love seeing her on screen, to be honest. She's really entertaining to me. Mekhi Brooks was fine, regardless of the ugly wig. The wigs kind of made it even more entertaining, if I'm going to be all the way real. Not to mention Felicia Rashad and Cicely Tyson and that crazy twist at the end that is totally unbelievable, but still had me kind of glued to the screen. I ain't even going to lie. I can't even lie. Before I watched this movie and before all of this controversy happened, yes, I was judging Tyler Perry movies right along with everybody else. I can't believe I used to watch this. This is trash. This is Conan. This is this and that. I used to judge very, very, very harshly. And I even told myself I would never support another Tyler Perry movie. But after watching this movie, I just had to accept it for what it is. Entertainment. If you watched this entire movie, you were entertained. Don't even lie. You know you was entertained by this movie. You know you was. How can I get mad at Tyler Perry and critique his work and go in on him and, you know, in essence, I guess, tear him down when I actually enjoyed it? Whether I enjoyed going in on the wigs or you know, looking for all the mistakes, I watched it. And as long as we continue to do that, Tyler Perry is going to continue to put out that content, because guess what, according to him, he amassed 26 million views. So guess what Tyler Perry about to do? He about to make another Fall from Grace, because I know Netflix is about to order another one. Probably 5 of them. Because we watched it. We supported it. I also did a poll of whether y'all watch Tyler Perry movies, whether in a good or negative way. And majority of y'all do support his content. So what else is there to say? The only way he's ever going to change is if people don't support him. And he has enough support behind him. So doesn't look like things are going to be changing anytime soon. So if we're going to watch his stuff anyway, leave Tyler Perry alone. I'm sure there are plenty of directors and screenwriters of all races that put out these terrible, awful movies straight to Netflix, straight to DVD, straight to TV movies. Oh my goodness, Lifetime makes the worst movies of all time. We just don't have a face attached to those people. You know what I'm saying? Those are people behind the scenes. If you're gonna get mad at him for making it, get mad at your mamas, aunties, cousins, and everybody else that'll be watching it, because they're the ones supporting it. They're the ones keeping it moving. And be mad at yourself if you hate watch it. It's literally the same thing. You're still putting money in his pocket. He's still doing great things for the Black community and for the Black entertainment set of the entertainment industry. Like I said, Black Panther was filmed at Tyler Perry Studios. That was one of the greatest Black films of our time. So even though he's filming these quote-unquote crappy movies, he's also supporting these awesome, amazing movies that is coming out as well. So I'm going to stop talking crazy about Tyler Perry. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just saying you might as well stop, because he's going to continue to write these movies and he's going to continue to be successful. Because guess what? He got the #1 shows on BET, the #1 shows on the OWN network, and it ain't stopping no time soon. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And just let me know what your opinion is. I would love to hear it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.